meeting started. First thing before we get into reports of the boards, committees, and department heads, several city employees worked today, and they worked really hard. We started the cleanup a day early because even though it's not rained to amount to anything in a month, it's supposed to rain the 3 days we're going to do the cleanup. So all 3 days. So we started a little early and actually finished out in front of City Hall and got the viaduct painted and got some curbs and stuff like that painted. So a lot of people worked really hard, and just want to thank all of them that worked really hard to get that done. So first thing on the agenda.
I went down to high school one day last week. Our license are ready, picked up, and they look good. They're gonna get our license.
Yeah, I went down there a couple weeks ago.
They're ready.
They were pretty. They were not as big as, this. We didn't get them to June last year. They wasn't as big, but they're pretty. They're going to be as big and as pretty as they were last year when they have a change the road.
We were trying to do something to Mr. Norton's price and Aaron's price, Like I said, he did do us a big favor for keeping them baskets, for keeping plants alive all winter long. So, those Mantor Hills or whatever, Gail Heron over there found 3 more of the ones that died to replace those ones that died.
And
So,
she went and purchased some to replace a lot of flowers that are in there.
have you seen them, man?
I have.
They look good, don't they?
Jim, that, Jim,
Sorry.
bridge up at Tank Springs, is it gonna get pressure washed and painted? What's all?
We can put that on the list to do. I don't know, Jim, do we have enough paint to paint the bridge at Tank Springs left?
No, I'm not sure.
It may be all right if you just pressure wash it.
Okay, we'll get it on pressure washed it tomorrow. Bridge at Tank Springs, pressure wash it tomorrow. Make myself a quick note of that. Alrighty, so you all got a copy of the reports from the boards, committees, and departments. They're in your packet, and you can look over them, and that will be on the agenda for approval. Mr. Fandon, you had some charter amendments.
Well, the charter, we'll wait till Reed gets here, but mainly what I was going to talk about first is we have a change of command, and I've said it 3 times now, this is going to be the last time, but I want to put on a resolution that we go by this, that any employee or any department head that gets a direct order from the council or the mayor, it's invalid. He has to go through the chain of command, and I want it somehow on the agenda so we can, in a form of a resolution, so we can do that. I mean, you listen, we understand, and I'm not criticizing anyone, but we've been without administrator for a long, long time. Mike took over, we didn't have anybody. He did a great job, but it's time we now went through the procedures that the charter says we have to do, okay? And, a department head or a city administrator should be looking for employees when one of us tries to send them somewhere else. So, and be aware that I'm willing to make a motion to give department heads or any employees 3 days if they don't follow these actions. I don't know if I'll get a second or a third vote, but I'm willing to do that. Okay, I'm said it, this is the 3rd time, and this will be my last time. I'll start making motions. Don't know if I get a second.
Well, let me comment on
Okay.
Bobby's.
Go ahead and comment. I understand, please understand that you was put in a big, bad position without a city administrator. And when we came here, I mean, you've got many copies. I understand.
I still do.
I know you do. Well, we all do, okay? Not as many as you do. But it's time to pass it on.
Well, it's hard. Even though this city shuts down at 5 o'clock, the city still goes on.
I understand.
Okay. Now, this weekend, I had 3 phone calls this weekend, complaints. And like I said, one of them I called Stan about this morning, Jim Mullins about a cave that opened up. A lady was afraid a 3-year-old kid fall down in it. I went out about 8 o'clock that night and looked at it. I didn't see no immediate danger, a kid falling in it. But I did notify Jim to check it out, and I also notified Jimmy that I had a call. And then the next one was a pothole, and I had the fire department take a big old comb and put it down in it. You know,
I mean,
I'm gonna let Jimmy burn his own, but he makes a hell of a time, I make, you know.
who you? Well, I mean, this is the way it should go, or through the department heads. I mean, I don't, through the city administrator or.
But a lot of times I can't get hold of Jimmy, or sometimes Jim Mullins, if any department head says I call him, he'll call me back.
Well, they should. I mean, you know, and when I have a complaint from a citizen, I either call Jimmy or the department head, tell them who the name is, tell them what they said, and I always tell the citizen to call me back within 7 days if they don't get back to me, okay? And that's all I do. Now, I don't get involved, I don't go look and everything. That's, if we had a sinkhole, you know, Jim has to come out, somebody, or the fire department has to come out.
I mean, everyone don't see Jimmy drive all the way from Speed right here,
Well-
off the trail, or Jimmy come all the way to Demery. I've got that old car, just jump in, drive it up the road, look it over.
Well,
And if it was bad, Jim would have come in here if I'd called him. It wasn't that bad to.
it's just not the way the charter's set up, Mike, so I'm.
That's right.
Hey,
That's
it's just
right.
the way I'm gonna go. Okay?
And the charter also says that the administrator is in charge of daily operations. Very plain, it doesn't stutter or anything about it. It says very plain that Jimmy is in charge of daily operations. And I'm sure that Jimmy knows what that means. And this way, we've got 2 administrators. If Mike's gonna go out and look at everything, then call Jimmy, then one of them we don't need. Because it doesn't do anything but confuse the thing.
What's confusing about it?
Well, if you go tell Jimmy what to do, and Jimmy's not looked at it, he's taking your word for it, what if he was wrong?
Listen,
Okay? In the same way with Jimmy. If Jimmy goes out and looks at something, and then you back up and say, well, that's not what I think. So it doesn't do anything but confuse things, and it goes against the charter if you don't do that. The charter simply says that Mr. Jimmy here is in charge of daily operations.
well, the mayor or you or anyone can call Jimmy or the department heads and, you know, and say a complaint and give them a complaint.
But now, in some cases, Mike, there's nothing wrong with, if you want to look at something, call Jimmy if he's closer to it, if you can't get a hold of him, or something other, it's okay to do. You know, a lot of times, we've all probably done that over a period of time, but that's not what the charter says.
Well, I did call Jimmy and tell him, and the lady called me about
Yeah.
an opening. And if she'd called me, and I said, well, I'll look at it tomorrow. Somehow that kid got out in the yard and fell in that damn cave and broke his neck or drowned it. It's our fault, the city's fault.
Yeah.
I didn't do what I was supposed to do.
But at the same time, for the last 2 years, you pretty well answered all the calls, and people expects that. And now since we've got an administrator, you know, then we need to let him do his job.
Well, yeah, okay.
You know,
People
it's
still
just,
call me.
yeah, well, yeah. Oh, they'll call you every day,
Well,
and that's just part of the political system, you know.
Again, refer them to the department that needs to go to. That's what I-
But now, when we have a department head goes out and puts men on the job, and he goes back, and one of us has changed, and sent 2 or 3 of the other guys the other way, and this guy's still here, and he's wondering where his men's at.
well, you shouldn't. You got a lot of men, you should have where we're doing that.
Well, yep, that's for a decision for all of us to make, not just you, Mike. You know that.
Jimmy only takes his orders from us in a meeting.
That's
It's a
it.
workshop or a council meeting. I cannot come to his office and tell him anything according to the charter.
That's right.
It has to be in a meeting.
Then let's do it that way.
Okay?
Well, we can give a complaint. I mean, boys, we can, hey, if a citizen calls us for a complaint, we can call Jimmy and
What
tell
the
him.
charter, tell him what the charter says.
Yeah, we can converse with our, either the department head or Jimmy, either one. If I have a citizen that you said that they had a opening in the city of Lafollette, yeah, you can certainly call someone, yes. Not saying you don't call, no, we still, it continues 24/7.
But what if you can't get a hold of him?
Well,
What do you do?
go to the department head.
I always answer my phone or call back.
Maybe an hour later or so.
If you can't get a hold of them, Mike, do what you done. Well, I turn and cover it up temporary till, until we get, somebody there to take care of it.
Not as soon as it rains, no.
You gotta use your head a little bit.
Yeah, I can do it.
That's what I do.
Just,
Yeah.
I just asked to be put on the agenda. Okay? That's it.
Okay, the next thing on there is the procedure on the beer permits. Reed will be here in a little bit. He's here? Yeah, here he comes.
Can I say something on bill permits?
Yes.
Used to, years and years ago, it first went through codes, which is the stand, make sure the building meets codes. And then it goes through Joey, it was in Land, used to be Landon, and then Joey, and then it goes to the police chief. So, the procedure for beer permits should be in that order, because if it don't meet codes,
The building?
yeah, if the building don't meet codes, then it shouldn't go to Joey. So it should be, go through Stan and then to Joey and then to police chief. Okay? That's what, I'm gonna,
It goes
again,
plan- Yeah, it goes for the plan commission, number one.
for beer permit?
Yeah, plan commission, then it goes to George and Bill.
Well,
All Bill does is background check.
okay. But evidently
No, it's
this
always
one
done that.
hasn't,
No,
so,
So this one hasn't been before the planning commission yet?
no,
okay.
None of them have been before the planning commission.
no.
No. No. They never-
I don't think,
It's
I
never,
don't think they're-
I've never had one like that.
no, I
What
think,
about Stan?
No, the way it used to be handled is Joey received the beer license, then it went to the codes department to verify zoning.
Right.
And everything like that. Then it went to the police chief for the police chief to actually do the backgrounds to make sure all that was correct. Then it went back to the city clerk. That's the way it was actually handled. I mean, a beer license it works just like a business license. Anytime the city gets a business license, it goes to the codes department to verify zoning. Then once zoning's verified, it's sent back to the city clerk for her to actually issue the business license.
Somehow, over the course of months, it's got sidetracked, right?
Exactly.
and we can also, the good thing on this too, we can also make sure it's zoned, and we'll make sure we get the money for the tax, sales tax. So, most of the time.
But at the same time, if you look at the rules and regulations on your beer permit, it's supposed to be non-reversible if you want collected. But this is the reason it needs to be looked at, because we've got into 2 or 3 different situations where we wanted to keep the people's money and we didn't issue them a permit. So that has happened also. But at the same time, if we go to Stan, that way Stan would know if it's gonna meet the codes or not. And then let's not take the money until everything is legitimate.
Well, what they failed on was the feet from the park. That's what that failed on. And he knew it would fail because he sits there in his door and looks out the door of the park every day. That's what that one failed on, was how many feet he was from a regulated park.
Yeah, that one was, yeah. But we had one in your own something, Reed, that we was all involved in, that we ended up, if you remember, I think you was the one that maybe made the motion on it to give the money back to the people.
That's the one.
Was that the one?
Same one.
But according, to the rules on it, you don't have to, because it says that right in the,
It's up to you guys, you just need to put it
Yeah,
in your
yeah.
code. Right now, it doesn't read that way, it says when you apply, you pay your fee.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken, we do money back, you know?
huh?
I ain't thinking of it.
It costs the same amount of money to do the background check and stuff, and go through Stan whether it's issued or not. It is non-refundable. They have to spend their time and money. Chief has to do the background check after the money comes in.
That's true, Joe, but that's not fair.
That's what it says.
Huh?
That's what it says. I mean, that's what it says.
If you wanna change it, but right now it says you pay for it at the time of application. So
Up
if you wanna
front,
change it,
pay for it up
you have to
front.
change the
All
code.
I'm
And
trying
then
to do is put
if you don't
codes
issue the
in
permit,
front.
we've got to come back and
Codes.
make a big deal out of it to give the people their money back.
On the permit from last month, I've been, had talked to, I got an email from Kathy Parrott that there is a code out of Nashville that counts, like, what's the halfway houses up there close to it?
Shepherd's
House,
Shepherd's
they're
Home.
here.
Yeah, that they count that as a religious organization, so we'll have to send that off to MTS. We may have to table that for another month to get an opinion. Ms. Parrott has sent that to me. So we don't, there is a circuit court ruling that it is, but in that circuit court ruling, it's a long drawn out thing. We'll just have to send it to MTS to make sure whether it be considered a church or not. So Reed is in the process of, I guess he's already emailed that out to them, and they'll get it back to him as soon as they can. If we have it before the meeting, then we can deal with it. If we don't, then
We may have to
table it.
While we're on that subject also, Reed, would you elaborate on the wine and grocery store service?
When it goes into effect, of course, this is July, I think. Just like the other aspects of liquor, any type of liquor by the drink, they're all gonna be, we do not regulate those. They'll be regulated by the state. And they will set forth all the rules and regulations of those, and we just have to, we don't have to do really anything. And just the same thing we did do for liquor by the drink or whatever, they regulate everything, every aspect of it.
Well, we do have to do something. We have to do a background check.
Okay, well, that's,
They still have to apply for a beer permit to sell it, each grocery store.
the permit process will go through, I still think the permit process goes through ABC of it. I think they refer it back to us to do certain aspects of it.
Right.
I'll check with Terry, I think that's how it is. But they kind of, they have their hands on it and they control it. But I think they will ask us to do certain aspects of it, but they will control the permitting process.
Like with beer, but will they set times like we do
Well,
on Sunday?
beer is us, but the time, that's kind of.
So it's up to them.
Yeah, but beer is us, but the times are theirs, and we had to go with their times. It's kind of.
It's in the law that was passed that our police department does the
Right.
background check.
That's correct.
They must do it or they come and penalize us.
Uh-huh, yeah, that's true. I checked with Terry too about how that, I don't know exactly how it is, brand new law, so I'll double check it.
Terry,
Hill.
he's retired.
Oh, he is?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Who is it? Okay, all right, we'll check with ABC. I'll do that.
Reed, was you asked to check this out?
What's that?
What Kathy Parker's checking out?
Why?
Why is she checking it out? And we bypassed you and you're our attorney.
I'll send
You're
it
our
off.
advisor.
Actually, I'll send it off to MTS, so after he got it too, so,
It went from him to them or what? I'm
She
just
sent it-
I'm just trying to find out who contacted Kathy Parker to do it. When we have,
I think Kathy was at
Have any
a
idea?
meeting in Nashville for this judgeship, and she ran across this. And she, I don't know if she called you or.
she emailed me.
Emailed,
Yeah.
She
That's how it
what?
comes.
She emailed me.
well then, what is your opinion?
It very well may be. Our code says this church, but it doesn't define what a church is, and that's the problem we got. What in fact is a church? Now, to me, a church is, building housing for Sunday and having Sunday services, but the state might have a different opinion. That's what we're trying to find out. I don't know.
You're
I don't
saying it's a
know.
house of worship, right? A church,
It's
a house
any
of
place
worship.
where religious services are conducted, doesn't necessarily have to be on Sunday.
That's true.
Because
That's
there's
true.
several churches that aren't on Sunday.
Right, so anyway, so we have to figure out what the actual definition.
Okay, now, what else does this not pertain to?
Well, I mean, it's, religious, just because you're, but also, on the converse is also true, just because you're a religious affiliation doesn't mean you're a church either.
That's true.
So that's the question we got to ask.
On that one particular issue?
That's the issue.
The
That's
issue.
I think
okay.
think all the
What about the
requirements.
parks? Does that come in too?
Are they within a park?
No, I'm just asking you a question.
No, I mean, I think the park is a little bit easier definable, less distance.
And a school,
School, parks, yep,
yeah, right?
yep.
Okay, now, if we wanna make an issue out of this thing, let's go down here where Murphy's is now. They sell beer. Got a school right next door to it. Is that wrong?
Meet the setback, didn't it, Stan?
It was,
That didn't come before me.
Before the school.
Well, does it make it wrong or does it make it right? Did we go as far as checking into it
School's
to
been
see?
there longer than Murphy has. School's been there a long time.
Also a church, too.
Yes.
Well, if the school was there first,
I don't recall the permit coming through, I don't know.
then, are they in the wrong? You can lay down almost up the property line from the building. So if we want to make an issue, wouldn't that be a good one?
I think it met setback.
I think, of course, they're measured, you know how they're measured though, they go out and back around, it's measured not as a profile, but it's measured by,
The way you walk,
Yep.
out the front door
yeah,
around.
absolutely, it's
Yeah.
measured, kind of funny, yeah, it is. So you go out and around, and I think by law, you don't go by profiles.
Yes.
So you go to their front door, I don't know.
We were talking about the parks now. George Roy called me, I think it's Thursday or Friday, and he's wanting to see if I still beer back at her downtown Shell,
That's definitely within the regulated park. We've
Right.
measured. Mhm. I think it says regulated park, which our rules and regulations govern the park. We've been to that one
He
before.
called about that before. We actually took a measure, rolling measure that measured down to the end and marked it off.
I know he called me back last week.
Well, Park boundary ain't moved since then.
But I don't know what the measurements are of the school. Probably,
When was that done?
Well, they've got fenced, they've got fenced in. And,
probably,
Boy, Stan, when did they build Murphy? I'm still.
Probably '06, but you've got one that was issued within probably the last year or so, which was that Wild Wings, and it's also right there in front of that church.
That's right.
The school.
but it seems to me like we're not careful. You can very easily get into a discrimination charge here if you don't do it right.
We'll get opinions and we'll, from the
There'll
state.
be more than opinion, I want you to follow up on it too.
That's what I mean, his opinion, you'll get the opinion from the state. and
Maybe
we'll
what
go.
his decision is what we want to take since he's our advisor. I'm not gonna bypass him.
I hope to have something by Tuesday, I don't know though.
All right. Next
You
thing
may
on
have to table
the,
it.
next thing on the agenda, Mr. Bannon, I believe put the mayor's car on there.
Yeah, 3 or 4 years ago, the council voted during his absence of the city administrator to go ahead and let the mayor have this old car. It's an old junk car and all this.
It's 19 years old.
Yeah, it's 21 or something.
So it involves, well.
Yeah, but if we're going to go by the charter and if we're going to do this and let everything, it also has a gas card, so much money per month and all this stuff. I think we ought to remove that because we don't need it anymore. I mean, because we have a full slate, we have the city administrator and every department is full. So I don't think we need the car.
I mean, I got no problem taking old cars, it's got 160-some-thousand miles on it. If I get called out, I can take my personal car, just do a 54
I'm very willing to, if you want to use that car, I mean, have that car, save that car as a reasonable depreciated value that Terry can come up with a price for.
I guarantee you Turkey have almost new price.
But I don't mind that one little bit, to go into your personal. But the gas would be removed, you get that back on the gas.
If it's that bad, maybe we may take it away from you anyway, Mike, you're gonna get killed in it.
Hey,
You know?
I mean, it's a good car. I mean, it gets you here to there and inside the city. But I'm gonna put that on the agenda. Now, again, if Terry, if you come up with a good price and Mike wants to buy that car, fine with me.
Yeah, okay, it's gotta be auction, the auction.
Okay.
I'll just take my personal car and just turn them out.
Well, you can turn in, we've got the rules, you can turn in the mileage and we'll pay you so much a mile.
That's 54 cents a mile, that's what I don't mean.
Well,
Well, I don't think, boys, you keep talking about mileage. I don't think, except on the trips that we authorize to Nashville, Chattanooga, or any other Knoxville, any meetings we do, we don't get mileage for our, if I'm called out to see, if a lady calls me, wants me to come to a problem inside the city, I use my own gas, I use my own car, I drive over there, I didn't get no mileage.
You could
And no, you don't think that's intended to do that. We might need to check on that. But I don't think you get mileage for what you do inside the city.
I mean, like I say, if you wanna take the car back, that's fine, it won't be good to me.
Okay.
But like I said, I use the car, you may see me out here picking up a dead animal off the dead end street. If you look in that car, I got a couple of orange bags and a couple of shovels in there. I ain't too good to pick up a dead animal off the street. I think like I haven't done it before.
you're taking Stan's job away from him, you do that, Mike.
Well,
All right, the next thing on the agenda is, we've got the, State of Tennessee Youth Bass Tournament for 2 years here. And the Chamber of Commerce has asked for a $500 donation for that. I recommend it. It's for the kids. You know, we need to help kids every time we get a chance. And also, we typically do donate to the mine safety. Terry, do we have money in there for the mine safety?
we do that.
In your contributions, you've got, I think you've got, evidently we had some extra money where we didn't pay something prior. And so there is $1,000 extra to pay those two if you want to.
Pay those two, okay. All right, the CCS band, they have purchased a trailer, and I think they are selling, if I understand it correctly, they're selling, like sponsorships for that trailer to pay for it, and they've asked us for $300. So,
We can do a resolution on that and take out our discretion on that if council wants to. I mean, the band's always been here. Every time we call them or something, they've always been joining the
The school would be a 501c, correct?
No, if it's a school, prior to this, the state said not to give anything to the school because it's perpetual. Now, MTS says you can give it to a school if you do a resolution and say it's a one-time contribution, but it has to be by resolution.
Okay. And it would probably be the city's logo sponsored by the city of Lafollette for 3 years. For 3 years.
But once we do the 1,000, that's all the money except for your discretionary money. So if you want to do the band.
You have to come out of discretionary, right?
Yeah.
If council don't want to do it, I've got some money in mind, I'll do the whole $300.
I'll work with you.
Okay. Andrew, you work with it?
Hmm?
You work with it?
Well, we'll just take it from,
We
the
don't
rest
have
of it.
We don't have it.
Discretionary fund.
Well,
We have to give it back to the
just tell
city
Terry,
and
he
then
can find
make
it.
a
He always
resolution at one
does.
time, right?
Yeah, I'll have your resolution from Tuesday night.
Who's that discretionary?
Whoever wants to get it, yeah.
Actually, give it to the bank, give it back to the city.
all righty. I gave you the thing on the Louis Bluey Festival. They came down a few days ago and had asked if we would, this year upcoming, if we would fund them $2,000 instead of the $1,000 that we typically fund them for a stage at Ricker Ridge. And
They've also been corporate sponsors.
they've lost a corporate sponsor, and it gives you for the $2,000 donation. Then you know, this sheet right here tells you what you get for your donations. So if y'all would like to do that, it'll be during budget time. But if that's something y'all would like to do for us to work on in the budget, then we can put it on there and work on it for their
So we need to wait till
August donation.
August donation.
That's when we typically did the Blue Blue. Is that correct, Terry? August when we typically?
Yeah, we
did-
were, August of this budget period, we gave the donation. This, I believe, would be for the ones coming up. So it'd be the new budget.
So we can
So
put
this-
that
this is-
2,000 in.
You can, yeah.
So that we're not voting on that then?
No, no, no.
No, it would just be in the budget, and you vote on the budget, yeah.
We've already discussed number 7. We have some, we need to vote to declare, and I'll have you a list of the items, everything together by Tuesday night. We'll vote to declare surplus for auction. We've set an auction up for May the 7th, through Longmire Realty, and I think we have a house, and I believe, if I remember correctly, we had 15 city lots, about 30 vehicles from the police department. Jim had a tractor trailer, CE's got a couple things, and I think Johnny's got a mower.
I have a question.
Okay.
Would it be possible to consider the house that we have for sale over, here, I don't know what street it's on.
Possibly.
I thought he was on this surplus.
It is.
Asking if, for the city to keep it and use it as a long-term vision to probably, to, in the future, making a fairground there for the city to have something to use as a fairground area. I mean, why sell it when we got it?
I got no problem.
Use it for something else. Those houses in that area are, I mean, we paid $23,000 for McGill and Associates to come in here and give us some ideas for long-term. So why don't we, I mean, this is property that we already own. Why not look at long-term down the road of using it for a fairgrounds for the city of Lafollette?
It's not, have you seen the lot? It's not very big.
I have, but long-term, I'm also thinking possibly find the other properties around it too.
In a residential.
I don't know, I'm asking if that's possible.
I'm like, yeah, I've always loved the old house back in Mac Williams lived there. And, I thought it was a great deal for Larry to use as a recovery for men, and it just cost too much to fix the house, but, you know, I got.
But I'm just thinking about, to tear it down and keep the property to use it years from now. I mean, I know we wouldn't be able to do anything right now, but why not keep it? We already own it, why not keep it?
I don't think anybody around there would carry it down and we keep it mowed, if that's what you want to do.
Yes.
For 3 to 5 to 10 years in the
Yes.
future.
Well, I guess if you're looking at a fairground, we need to make sure where their other 15 lots are then, too.
Would that not be something to consider for the future of the city? I mean, we're trying to come up with something.
Maybe not right now.
They'll be marketable to the voting lot. They're not building.
Is it possible to consider taking the house out and keeping it?
You have to rescind past action, if we already voted to surplus.
Starts in a clear surplus, so it needs to be uncleared. Amend whatever action previously declared.
Well, then I need to tell him, don't see what advertising, got them pictures of it and
Property
advertising.
of St. Church, big fair. Behind food line.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
We've got property up there that could be a fairground up there behind food line, between the church and the school.
That's right, and we've got 5 or 6 acres up there at East Elementary School. We didn't know we had it, we fell in the guy's fence. And we fell in the guy's fence.
The city didn't know they had it?
I was,
And you actually go up to the soccer field and use that if you protect it too, if we're out there.
yeah. But as far as, you don't know that, you go straight through, food line up to elementary school, all them woods, they belong to us.
But,
The city, when Lucy was located with the mayor, they done a land swap with the church, Bob, you remember?
Yes, sir.
And the city acquired that property and over of course, everybody getting reelected and stuff and changes, we forgot we owned it. But a guy called me one evening about a tree that tore his fence up. And I remember when I looked at it, and I said, baby, we don't own that property. He said, yeah, sure, so you do. I said, you sure? I think I called you, didn't stand.
You did.
And we went and looked at it, and we got about 6 acres of it.
is that, some of that cleared property there beside the church, is it in that,
Yes, it is.
I noticed they don't mow
Yeah.
well there.
Yes. It was a good deal for the school.
Oh, yeah.
I just didn't know it came all the way down to the end of the.
I told the church I paid for his fence. He said, ain't worried about the fence. If I can get that tree off the fence, I'll pay for it. Jim sent a crew out there and took the tree off the fence. But we need to go in there and do some trimming, keep from happening again. Don't we, Jim? We need to go in there and do some trimming on your trees, keep them turning the fence up. What I say?
There's probably some golf balls in there.
Yep, I guarantee you.
All righty. Johnny?
Where everyone wants to go to have.
Okay, well, let me go ahead and poll y'all right now, because I need to tell him either to take it off or leave it on, because he's got it on there to be sold. Please.
Well, my thoughts of it, long-term, is our ATV festival is taking off and doing very well, and possibly we could do something down the road with that property, with the ATV festival. And being right here in town.
I'm trying I tried to memorize who lives right up that road that would never sell no matter what.
Put a house on the corner, going to Mr. Ross, Hardy Ross. Sweats on it down like that.
Because you have to do a 25W, and we won't ever have the ability to do anything 25W, I don't think. Because the state regulates it, I don't think we'll have the ability to be able to put people on it.
Or we could capture some of that stuff, that building that the, was given up here at the tavern. We could replenish that and make that a part of this ATV, you know, we could put some money if we choose to. If we find any extra money in it.
Right, and me and Stan was in there last week, that is a pretty nice building inside since you tore it back off, where it's falling in.
Yeah.
Man, we're gonna do some major cleaning on it.
That was something I had to ask about that old deer joint, about seeing if we could do something to redo it, to be able to use it.
Now,
We can do it.
Joe had talked to me, he wanted to put it during budget time, to put it on our list of stuff to put money into this year during budget time.
Good idea.
So,
That's what they're at.
Yeah, we've got to keep that sign on the end of it,
Which one?
it's just fast
though.
now.
Fast time out.
I've never seen a size piece, but I forgot.
That's part of the history of heritage here.
Johnny was gonna give an update on the recreation grant, I don't know if Johnny made it. Y'all, as far as the house, now, do you wanna do the fairgrounds up by the elementary school, or do you wanna do the fairgrounds down here?
I don't know about that property, so if you all, I don't know anything about that property, so if that property would work for it, then that would be a good idea.
Since Joe wants to put some money in the tavern, and since we have that 5 or 6 acres up there, plus because we have the soccer field also, and the parking already done, I think we don't just go ahead and take a picture and see what we do. But you can put a minimum amount, if it doesn't sell for, then we just,
Let's do that.
We put a minimum on
you did, what, 15?
it. On the house,
Yeah.
it was 30 something.
30. So if it doesn't sell, it's still.
These people that you're dealing with downtown, cleaning up downtown and everything, won't you get with them and ask them and get opinion of them, what they think? And whatever you think it's a good idea, if they think it's a good idea, y'all do it. We're going on with it.
We don't deal with McGill anymore.
Huh?
We don't deal with McGill anymore.
You know?
Y'all quit.
Everybody that was on that project left and got other jobs. Yeah, they all left the company. Everybody that was on that project.
through from here up to the soccer field. Yeah, no.
So, Johnny was gonna give an update on the rec grant, he's not here, so,
What happened just a couple months ago?
So how you gonna access it?
McGill, another $6,000. Is that gone too?
that was
We're gonna run away
one of
with
the
the
last thing they came in and did. They have never
thought
Terry
they
back
had.
about that. Terry's trying to
But
contact
you
them
said
about.
you do something about it, yes, didn't you? You didn't want to use McGill anymore.
Right.
Terry's trying to contact them 4 or 5 times and they will not get back to him.
I've got invoices for them for so much, and we called, have the new person call, nobody's ever Can't get them called.
What, Terry, you remember the total amount we paid McGill Associates, total amount?
Well,
Went through 2,000?
well, we paid them some back in the last budget, but what I've got now is, we've not paid those invoices. I've been holding them. Huh?
So, all right, under Public Works, the T-Dot Dawson Lane Bridge, the county did vote during their last county commission meeting to go in partners with us on that bridge. Dennis Powers, he contacted me today, and he asked if there had been anybody from T-Dot that contacted us telling us that they were gonna pay most of the remaining 20%. Told him no, he was in the process of trying to get in touch with him, but wasn't able to get in touch with him before the meeting. He thinks that they're going to pay the, most of the remaining 20%. We may just have to come up with 1% apiece, the county and us. Right now, we
They think they must
have
have almost 500,000, that's good.
right now, we have to come up with,
290.
right now, we have to come up with 280 for our 10% part over a 3-year budget period.
Jimmy, if I'm not mistaken, that has nothing to do with this grant. This is a federal grant, federal backed, federal funded grant, which has nothing to do with the other 20% or whatever portion the state pays. So, you know, they're two different items. If the council pleases, we need to go ahead and accept, if they want it, the grant offer from the Federal Highway Administration through the state. Then this other 20% or whatever portion of that we may or may not get has nothing to do with the grant offer we have now. You see what I'm talking about?
Explain something to me. This Dossett Road goes where? I mean, explain what it's gonna connect to. I know where it goes. I mean, you know, what is it gonna connect to? How's it gonna improve anything on the other side of the railroad track?
Well, one of the things that the state looked at and the Federal Highway Administration was the emergency contact from,
The helicopter.
yeah, the helicopter.
Other than that.
And other than that, in the event, of course, we all hope none of it ever happens. But that runway is big enough for the National Guard to land some big planes in the event that ever happens. Also, there's about 300 acres, more or less, of property that could be developed for industrial development.
210 acres, right? 210 acres.
So all those things combined made it very attractive, if you will.
You know, it would be very easy for the, you know how the congestion is when the high school gets there. It's very easy for them to get on the other side of the tracks and use that road. Maybe Jimmy should be talking to the school board also, because anybody going towards Jacksboro could use that road and come out Dossett Road, across the bridge. But we want the school board maybe put in maybe high for 30% or high for what we put in.
The
school.
In the county commission meeting, and they were discussing what they would have to do to get a road that comes out so they don't, and run traffic out that way, the Jacksboro bound traffic out that way.
The school board has talked about it, the county commissioners have talked about it, accessing off of the back of the high school, I think what Jimmy's talking about. They also could go down Memorial Drive and go back across the bridge at Dossett Lane too.
Well, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah, that's another plus. That'd help unload that congestion on Toe String at the red light out there on Jacksboro.
But before we vote on this, we can vote on it because we don't know if we're gonna get it. We always turn it down. But I think Jimmy ought to be negotiating with, well, we got a school board member here, is Johnny, and negotiate and see what, if they would pay high. That would really alleviate a lot of, I mean, you got a red light there and everything. Go ahead, Stan. One I missed.
May I ask, have you all approached the city of Jacksboro and asked Jacksboro to contribute any money to this? The city of Jacksboro, because all that property that's back in there is their urban growth boundary. Weirwoods, all that 200 acres that Jim's talking about, that's all Jacksboro's urban growth boundary.
Did you
This
ever,
is- this
did you
is
ever
when-
get that for sure, Stan?
Yes.
You did?
Mhm.
This is when Tom
Last time I
Steiner and
talked to you,
all
you
was
didn't
doing
have
all
it.
this urban growth. And that's
Do what?
When Tom was the county executive or county mayor, that's when they did all that.
Yeah.
Who actually is applying for the grant? Is it the city, the county, or who?
City.
Because once, if we get that and we do that project, we gotta have cash flow. That bridge is like $2.8 million. And when they start construction, you gotta have cash flow.
The grant is addressed to the city.
Okay.
Now, the county has said that they will appropriate their portion of the cash flow as needed.
And that would be good because it's on reimbursement, yeah.
Mhm.
And what I'm asking is Jimmy talking to the school board to see if they would do half of our half. Because it could relieve a lot of traffic coming out on that main highway.
It would. But I think what they're looking at too, the county and the school board, is the expense of coming out of the back of the high school property to Toast Train.
I understand, but
So that's gonna be a.
they should have done it when they first built the school, they should have had it.
Yeah,
Okay?
but they're looking at that cost as well.
And I don't want them to go over, have to go over a railroad, pass
Right.
over a railroad track, but this way would alleviate that. I'm just asking to talk to them.
Yeah,
All
well,
right, Jimmy?
Sure.
Okay.
Absolutely, I will. I just got a message from Dennis Powers that said the chief engineer, Paul Deggs with TDOT, said he was on the road and didn't have the papers in front of him, but he didn't see an issue with, having the match reduced down to 2%, using the bridge replacement funds for it. So, the last time I talked to them, they were in the final, they had to go through one more committee, and now the chief engineer says he doesn't see an issue with it, so
How
I
much
guess,
does that bring it down
$28,000 apiece.
to? You keep, yeah, for all that.
Not the money, man, you like that, Bob.
If I did the math,
I like that.
28,000 apiece. So, if 10%.
And this, with the school getting down that thing, that they can afford, they need another outlet. If they had an emergency and something happened on that road, I mean, nobody would be able to leave the school. I don't think they have a choice but to appeal on that side.
but that's still,
The school board will help with profit period.
has nothing to do with this 80% grant. Follow me? And the letter that TDOT issued, I don't remember the date, but it's getting toward 60 days.
Well, we can go ahead and accept it. Once then they have to accept us, correct?
Yeah,
Okay, we can turn it down if we don't get all this other stuff, okay?
what they're waiting on now, TDOT, the ball's in our court. Do we want this 80%?
Yeah, under the circumstances we just heard, we'd be crazy not to.
Well,
If the county's taking high and Mr. Powers can get it down to 2%, we're sort of nutty here. We have to.
But, we need to, and they didn't set a definite deadline, but I talked to TDOT last week, and they were wondering why they had not heard back from us.
We're gonna vote on it next Tuesday, okay? Is that okay with you?
Okay. But what they're waiting
The
on,
reason they hadn't, I didn't put it on the agenda because I wanted to be sure that the county was going to
Right.
partner with us,
Mhm.
because we'd be out over $500,000.
yeah, yeah,
If they didn't, so, and they did, they agreed to in their workshop, they voted on it in their meeting, so that's where, I wanted to make sure before we committed ourselves to $500,000, over $500,000. The next thing Jim had was banners for downtown. He's been approached by Mr. Pitts with the beautification committee and asked him to put up 26 banners downtown. These banners are extremely expensive. They will cost, a little over $5,600 plus tax. So, I don't.
And what is to be put on the banners?
Jim,
Well,
use-
there's 12 banners, well, room for 12 on North Tennessee. The merchants up there have agreed to buy 5. The beautification board asked about putting them on South Tennessee. I think there's 6 down here. They also asked about South Indiana. There's 6 light poles up there that they could be hung on to, you know. So you add up, anyway, there was 26 total. Now, the merchants on North Tennessee have agreed to buy 5.
But what's on the banner?
Pardon?
What is on the banner?
There are these blue banners, are they still over here in the,
He told me to put them in my office. They're gonna go get one.
get one?
Yeah. He's afraid to get
Are we
done.
considering moving them below the bridge? I mean, to the city of Lafollette down there, where Quincy Mall is and all that?
So we already have some
Beautification
of the
board.
banners, and this is 26 more to buy?
The beautification board is about 22, maybe, something like that, through donations.
Where are you getting your banners for that kind of money?
I'm trying to get it right there.
But
But the banner is, I mean, is it something to be up all the time, or is it, I mean, because we always change out the banners in town for the different seasons.
we have the seasonal banners, Christmas, dogwood, what else?
Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving, we have the breast awareness banners.
Yeah.
If I had a car, I'd give you.
But these are, when Mike gets back, he'll see what,
Yes.
they will stay up probably 6 months out of the year, 6 or 8.
These we put up? Yeah.
Yeah, they rotate out. So they're, you remember the ones we had up before? The blue ones that said Lafollette on them?
I don't.
They're similar to
These?
that. Yeah.
When are we supposed to put these up?
Mm,
The pattern.
whenever you get the, what's up on that dogwood?
Yeah.
When the dogwoods come down, they'll go up.
Well, we have,
$250 a piece? But still. Hangers are
They're
$115?
$56 and some odd cents a piece, it takes 2, it's $115 per pole. The flags are $100 per pole.
These flags are hard on the piece.
Yeah, see, that's what I'm getting at.
Can I ask a question?
They see you
How many of these you say you got right now?
20.
20 over here?
There's 19 there and one up the street, there's 20 off.
You want me to go to my stash and bring you some more of them?
You got more of them?
Not like these.
They're similar.
They're awful similar. You hang
They
one
are.
on, you hang that on one end of town and one of these other on the other end. You
The
won't see the
old
difference.
ones,
But now, to me, that looks like a 4th of July banner.
Me too, yeah.
Me too. I mean, that just looks like 4th of July. That's not something I'd want hanging up 6 months out of the year.
What happened to the big banners? We all chipped in $100 a piece, you know, for the bottle. The great
that's the
big
ones he's talking about.
I'm talking about. I'm not by mistake. I don't know that they ever got put up. I've got, I don't know that I ever remember us
I
putting
saw
them up.
them,
You did see them up once?
yeah.
We have,
They were up like summer.
we also, you talk about putting these up right now. We also have a new spring banner that's ready to go up as soon as you clean up the fall, clean up the streets. They're ready to go up, brand new, 19 of them, spring.
Now, when they first created the education board, Dr. Jason, Jim, and Dr. John, and all that, they had $1,000 a year. They get most of their money donations from business people. Last year, Terry and I budgeted against Terry's permission, an extra $1,000. They had $2,000 to play with. You know,
Yeah, the council gave him, they gave him
Extra
extra,
$1,000.
because he's doing
In my
something
opinion,
extra.
I
I don't know
think
what
that's
it was.
just, it's $6,000, $5,600 plus shipping is just too much money to pay for. I mean, everybody wants to make the town look good and everybody wants to make the town better and And we're spending a lot of time and a lot of money this week making the town look good and make the town look better, but $5,600 is just too much money.
Hey,
You
Mike,
have,
you
so
make
you-
banners, don't you, Mike? Whiskey.
Yeah, for that kind of money,
They got you.
One of my banners. Matches up to this for the meeting. But
We not have some bigger banners than
one of
anyway.
these, see, what the sell.
Would you like me to get one, what we got in the
All right,
council?
we'll just,
Yes, what she said.
we'll leave that off this time. This budget line transfer is not actually transferring money out of the general fund into the budget. Jim had some money left over out of equipment that he's going to transfer from the line item in his budget to buy garage doors with. So that'll be on
So
there.
Jim, you've got, what, 2 new garage doors?
You'll need 2 more. And Terry and I have not had time to get together yet and see exactly how much money is left. But, we really need a toolbox to go on Steve's truck. I found one. It's actually a utility body, so he
Oh,
can,
okay.
and it's $800. The garage doors are about 3 apiece. Then, if there's any left, I'd like to buy material as far as it will go to extend our equipment shed when I get time. Of course, it may be fall before we get time to do it.
Jim, if you extend that building anymore, you're gonna be up on George Johnson's property.
No, the other one,
Oh, no, okay.
the other one over by the shop.
Okay.
But I've got to use it by June the 30th or lose it, you know. And that's what, and we need it, you know, it's stuff we'll use, it's buying, it's not paying labor.
We got it, we got it.
He's actually got money in that equipment account where the budget was approved last July. Some of his equipment didn't cost as much. You actually, if you just agree to what he's doing, you really don't have to vote on it because it's already been approved in the budget. It's just using it for a different purpose.
Yeah,
If y'all
that's all
just
it
say it's
is.
okay, he just go ahead and do it.
I got a phone.
Everybody else don't. You really don't have to vote on it. It's already approved. It's just a different use of money left over.
The more doors, the garage, anyway, something.
Under the fire department, CE's got on there hiring Joseph Roach full-time. He's currently part-time with a starting salary of $27,835, effective date 5/14 of 2016. That will be on the agenda. Does anybody in the audience have a comment, anything you want to say? Yes, sir.
I'd like permission to, about 2 minutes, an update on the Shepherd's Home, if I could, for your information. I realize you covered that subject. Real quick, my name is Larry Tanis. I'm one of the co-founders of the Shepherd's Home. Been on the board since its existence in 2009. It's a women's transition home, it's a Christ-centered home to help people overcome the spiral of addiction. 2 years ago, to this date, basically, we opened Shepherd's Home 2 at 313 Central Avenue, the one that's being contested right now. We originally initiated that home to be a second home for women to get reacquainted with their children and helping them transition to society. Excuse me. It hasn't worked out as well as we had planned, to be very honest, because many of the women are, and their children haven't been together, and it just became a little difficult. There are 2 options we hope to pursue and implement this year. We are working with Cliff Branham and Springs of Life in Jellicoe. Jellicoe has a 2-year men's program, and they're looking at making the second year here at that facility. So the first year at Jellicoe and the second year here in Lafollette. The second option is we're working with Terry Gray of the Knoxville Area Mission, and Terry wants to get involved in opening a men's home. And so it's either going to be part of Springs of Life, or we're going to open a men's home there, hopefully this year, to start a men's transitional living home as well. So we are a Christ-centered facility. We plan to be there. We hope to house our ministry there. I'm not claiming we're a church or a 501c3. We're chartered in the state of Tennessee. But I just ask that you take that into consideration. Thank you.
And I really appreciate everything you have done to try to make this thing happen for the women. You know, sometimes we look way ahead, we don't see the overall picture of what's going on around us. I'm just sorry to fail.
God is changing lives in that family. It's to His glory and His credit, not ours.
Anything else from anybody in the audience? All right, would any in council have anything?
If you do the, item one,
The charter amendments? Mr. Fannin said under charter amendments, he just wanted to put on a resolution for everybody go to the chain of command, and that no one from the council give an employee an order.
Give it directly to you or to the department. We put that in a resolution?
That's not really an amendment, though.
It's part of the
Charter now, right?
I understand.
That'd be
Maybe,
form of a resolution. if you-
well, maybe I just make a motion that you can go through and talk to each councilman and the mayor exactly what we can do.
Okay.
Chopping block, really.
Anybody else have anything? Meeting's adjourned.